NBA Journey, Dominating the Court as Interior Overlord, Episode 71. On the plane, Zhang Tao also said goodbye to the three teammates who were traded. The NBA is a business league that is brutal. Rabasier, Khalistan, and the two were just thinking about how to contribute to the team's next game when they were traded. The atmosphere of the Kings' 9-game winning streak they liked very much. But helplessly, this is the reality. The King does not need so many inner lines, and it is enough for the inner line to have Zhang Tao as the core. George Hill is very open. He went from the Pacers to the Spurs and then to the Kings, and he knew that the Wizards would not be his final stop, and the Wizards valued nothing more than his final year of expiring contract. Zhang Tao finally chatted goodbye to George Hill on the plane. Knowing that Hill will most likely not stay with the Wizards this season, Zhang Tao recommended the Milwaukee Bucks to Hill. "Trust me, buddy, Milwaukee is a team with a lot of potential. Maybe we'll meet in the playoffs in the future." "That Greek Monsters team? Not bad indeed, I will consider it, thank you for the suggestion." Zhang Tao doesn't mind helping the Bucks gain an instant combat power, even if they get Hill. How far they can go is still based on Brother Alphabet, not Hill. When Zhang Tao crossed back, although the Bucks had a strong record, they still did not break out of the East, and it is conceivable that it was not so easy to play the finals. After getting off the plane, the three people who were traded did not follow the team bus to the hotel, but immediately transferred directly back to Sacramento at the airport in Los Angeles, where they were going back to pack their bags and then go to Washington. After arriving at the hotel, Zhang Tao received a call from Bill. "Dude, I'm so excited, I really didn't expect to join forces with you." Bill said happily. "I'm looking forward to your arrival too, Bradley." Zhang Tao said, "I've seen a lot of your match videos, and have to say, you're really cool." Bill said, "Thank you, I also watch your matches often, it's great." Familiar business blowing each other. Bill said a lot, although he and Zhang Tao had not met, and talked with Zhang Tao for a long time. Bill kept asking everything about the King, and Zhang Tao also helped the future teammate get acquainted with the new team as much as possible. Bill is an all-star player, but he didn't pose for Zhang Tao to take the initiative to give him a hand, and the two basically focused on Zhang when discussing future tactical play. When playing basketball and encountering stars of the same level, it is generally an inside-based tactical initiation method, which will not have much conflict between the two. One inside and one outside, this is an all-star roster configuration that Bill and Zhang Tao are very willing to accept. December 24th, Christmas Eve, Los Angeles, Staples Arena. The Clippers of the Ninth Company are facing the King, who has just detonated the league's over-the-counter trading news. Bradley Beal isn't coming that soon, and he'll need a few more days to complete a series of processes to make his official debut with the Kings. The Kings lost 3 rounds of lineup, but the decline in strength did not become too obvious. Bogdan also made a timely comeback, which added to the team's second team in time. The Clippers had a busy 2017 offseason, spending a lot of money to make the team look new. This summer, they traded Chris Paul, the best point guard in the team's history, for the team's current core player. Teodosic is an important addition to the Clippers at point guard, but Teo has been injured this season, and in averaging 25 minutes per game, Teo has contributed 9.5 points and 4.6 assists per game, and he cannot fill the gap in the point guard organization left by the Clippers after Paul's departure. Neither Rivers Jr. nor Lewis are very well organized, and the Clippers' decline this season is very obvious. With a 12-20 record so far, they are 12th in the West and have been opened by the Kings. Today's focus will be Griffin plus Jordan versus Zhang Tao. This is the Clippers' highest attendance this season, and it is said that the Chinese in Los Angeles enjoy watching Zhang Tao's games. Look, a large area on the sidelines is full of Zhang Tao fans. The Clippers' summer trade caused them to lose fans and their record, and they're not in good shape this season. The Kings are currently in 9 wins, and I think it's hard for a Clippers like this to stop them. Although the outside world is optimistic that the Kings will continue their 10-game winning streak, but apparently the Clippers won't give up the game so easily, especially Griffin and Jordan Jr. Zhang Tao, nicknamed the Beast, regarded his opponents as sheep, and beat his opponents in 9 consecutive games, known as the modern Olney, changing the era of small ball. These compliments made Griffin and Jordan Jr. very uncomfortable. Griffin is an all-star almost every year, and Jordan Jr. has also been in for a while. No matter how the outside world praises Zhang Tao, they still have their own pride. They believe they can teach Zhang Tao a profound lesson at home. Episode 72. Clippers starters, Teodosic, Austin Rivers, C. Williams, Griffin, Jordan Jr. King starters, Fox, Hield, Bogdan, Randolph, Zhang Tao. There are many fans of Staples. In this place, Zhang Tao's popularity is very strong. Seeing Zhang Tao easily win the jump ball with Little Jordan, the fans on the scene actually cheered. Zhang Tao dialed the ball to Fox, who immediately dribbled the ball forward. Zhang Tao immediately threw off Little Jordan and accelerated towards the front court of the Clippers. "Don't think about it," Griffin roared. Griffin knew exactly what Zhang Tao was going to do. It's just that Zhang Tao's athletic ability is beyond his imagination, and he knows what Zhang Tao is going to do, but he can't stop it. Fox's scoring was fast, and Zhang Tao stepped on the three-point line to receive the ball in a high-speed sprint. Griffin, who rushed over from the side, wanted to stop Zhang Tao, but with a bang, Griffin was forcibly knocked away by Zhang Tao, retreated continuously, and then fell to the ground. Zhang Tao did not dribble after taking the ball, but directly took a big stride. After hitting Griffin, the Clippers' backcourt was no longer in the way. Zhang Tao's easy glide split. Zhang Tao easily pulled the frame after splitting it with one hand. The fans cheered, and it could be seen that although it was Staples away, the fans here were not loyal to the Clippers. What a big step. The talent is really strong. You don't have to dribble the ball in 2 steps. Zhang Tao complained to Fox. Did someone hit me just now? Haha, Zhang, that guy just now is Griffin. Didn't you find it was him? Fox laughed. Zhang Tao shook his head and said, well, I didn't even see that guy clearly, he kept retreating. Is it really him? How is it so weak? Fox was still surprised that Zhang Tao could push Griffin away so easily. Griffin is also a famous interior beast, but this guy is a little weak compared to Zhang Tao. Fox smiled. Of course it's him, why should I? Zhang Tao said, that guy is really a chicken. Both Fox and Bogdan were amused by Zhang Tao. On the other side, Griffin was brought by Little Joe. How? Is there something wrong? Little Jordan asked. It's okay, this guy is too strong to fight, you have to pay attention. Griffin gritted his teeth. The confrontation just now made Griffin a little disgraced, and Griffin felt that he needed to get it back. As soon as Teo passed halftime, Griffin began asking for the ball. Theodosic, once the king of Europe with excellent organizational skills, easily gave the ball to Griffin in the low post on the right, and then took the man away to let Griffin eat Zhang Tao alone. Griffin knew that Zhang Tao was strong, and instead of singles with his back, he immediately leaned over and held the ball to kill. Zhang Tao kept retreating, his hands constantly raised, he was waiting for an opportunity. When Griffin was about to reach the 3-second zone, he felt that the position was almost the same, and immediately flew to put the basket. But having long been waiting for this opportunity, Zhang Tao immediately jumped up and directly fanned the ball out. Zhang Tao deliberately let Griffin in, and Griffin's type of play that looks down and does not look at the defender is the most liked by Zhang Tao. The block came out when Theodosic grabbed an offensive rebound. Theodosic saw Griffin's good position and once again teleported straight in. Griffin's position is indeed good, but he is too far inside to attack the frame directly, and he forcibly turns around in place to reflexively dunk. Snap! Zhang Tao on the other side burst out with amazing bounce again, and firmly pressed on the basketball with one hand. Griffin made a milk and wanted to buckle, but Zhang Tao was also bursting with muscle strength. Bang! Griffin was directly knocked out of the basketball court by Zhang Tao. The referee did not hesitate to give the ball to the king, and the ball was taken out of bounds by Griffin. Griffin, lying on the ground, fell to the ground. He hit his head when he fell to the floor. Beep. The referee suspends the game. The team doctor went up. How many is this? The team doctor kept shaking his fingers in front of Griffin to see if he was unconscious. Although Griffin reacted, he was obviously a little sluggish. He has to be tested for a concussion. The team doctor said to Rivers. Okay. Rivers frowned and replied helplessly. The home Clippers got off to a bad start, and Griffin went straight down in less than a minute. Failu reminds you, 3 things to read, collect, push. Episode 73. The Clippers were unlucky, and Griffin was killed at the beginning of the game. Lying groove, the beast is really fierce enough. 2 caps in a row got Griffin into a concussion. Zhang Tao is too cruel. Griffin is so miserable, I feel sorry for him. Griffin is reckless, he shouldn't challenge Zhang Tao head on, he should hide a little. The barrage on the internet went crazy again, and Zhang Tao gave fans 2 consecutive cruel hats a lot of discussion topics. On the field, Fox was horrified to see Griffin shaking his head and beating him in the locker room. Griffin, this guy is too iron-headed, why should he be so impulsive to challenge Zhang Tao? Zhang, tap the next time you pat me on the head. Bogdan said to Zhang Tao, yes, don't be too hard, I'm afraid to become like him. Hilda also said, okay, I'll be as gentle as possible, I declare, I didn't mean to. Zhang Tao spread his hands to express helplessness. Fact, if you want to be intentional, I guess this guy is going to send first aid. Complained Fox. Staples fans looked up at the big screen again and again. Zhang Tao's continuous hat to Griffin was too ferocious, especially the last one. Griffin was grabbing the ball with both hands. Zhang Tao was pressing the ball with one hand. Zhang Tao's muscles were strong. Griffin fell on the spot and it really hurt. The King's attack. Zhang Tao gave Hield a no-ball cover. Hield received a shot from Bogdan and made a precise 3-pointer from the right side. Ugh, 5-0. It's beautiful. Hilda came over and gave Zhang Tao a high five. You voted accurately. Zhang Tao praised. Hield is one of the most beneficial little men under Zhang Tao's cover, and he often gets opportunities for empty seats under Zhang Tao's cover. Hield has improved greatly since he came to the Kings after the Pelicans' original 3-pointer-like shot. He shot 43% from 3-point range this season and averaged 2.4 3-pointers per game, making him the league's premier shooter. Zhang Tao is not just a good player, he can help his teammates improve together. Fox and Hield are both direct benefit guards. The little man needs cover, Zhang Tao can do it. When the small man needs to throw in, the big man grabs the front court board, and Zhang Tao can occasionally grab it. When the small man leaks the outside line, Zhang Tao can assist in time. This is why Zhang Tao will be welcomed by small men in the King. The Clippers' offense. After seeing Griffin's tragic situation, Jordan Jr. learned very smartly. He did not go head-to-head with Zhang Tao. Of course, his lack of singles ability is also one of the main reasons. Jordan Jr. gave Rivers Jr. a block. Rivers Jr. broke through Fox, and in the face of Zhang Tao's assistant defense, he used a throw, and Zhang Tao's fingertips touched Rivers Jr.'s high throw again. The basketball went straight off track, 3 did not stick, and the rebound was taken by Randolph. Randolph gave the ball to Zhang Tao, who had just finished blocking. Zhang Tao dribbled and ran. The Clippers' defense is obviously not adapted to Zhang Tao's own dribbling attack, and Zhang Tao easily found an attack route. Zhang Tao stepped into the inside line of the Clippers and won the buckle, 7-0. Obviously, there is no one on the Clippers side who can match Zhang Tao, and Griffin's end has caused a certain vacuum in the Clippers' defense. Rivers needs to find a way to deal with Zhang Tao. Otherwise, if he continues to fight like this, the Kings' advantage will become more and more obvious. Both commentators were giving Rivers attention. Rivers on the sidelines was constantly roaring in a ducky voice, but instead of calling a timeout, he asked Teo to continue to organize the attack. Teo and Jordan Jr. blocked. This time it was Teo himself who chose to stop mid-distance. Bogdan was familiar with Teo's rhythm, and he defended it, and Teo's shot brushed around the basket before coming out. Jordan Jr. yelled to grab the offensive rebound. He had already jumped first, and he also judged the right position and direction, and he felt that he could take the ball. Zhang Tao collided directly with Little Jordan in the air. He forcibly bumped away from Little Jordan, and put his arm around the ball with one hand in advance. Zhang Tao strongly protected the backcourt rebound, and soon, Fox near the midcourt beckoned desperately, and Zhang Tao also threw it directly and vigorously. Fox turned around and passed Harrell, and it was easy to get off. 9-0. Rivers couldn't help it, and was beaten into this virtue by the King at home. Episode 74. End of class. Rivers off class. Rivers off class. Some Clippers fans were booing and scolding the team's head coach. Since Paul was traded, the Clippers' grades have plummeted. Coach Rivers often reused his son, making Teodosic's tactical status low, and Teo lost his style as King of Europe. And this time it was late to call a timeout, which made some Clippers fans very dissatisfied. The timeout was called at 7-0. It's just that obviously not all fans understand the ball, and the Clippers state is not very effective in calling a timeout. Pausing back, Rivers made personnel adjustments. Lewis was replaced. Lewis came up with the ball to attack and Rivers wanted him to open the way. Louis blocking with Jordan Jr. Jordan Jr. immediately went down after blocking the people and took Fox, who was following Luffy, away. Lewis didn't give the ball to Jordan Jr., and even if Jordan Jr. misaligns, his ability was poor. As long as it doesn't reach the 3-second zone, Little Jordan is not threatening, and Lewis might as well come by himself. Continuous change of direction rhythm dribbling. Lu Wei directly plays Zhang Tao. Small plays big is also misplaced. Lu Wei is not afraid of big men, even Gobert, who is the former league's best defensive player. He does not know how many times he played. After shaking left and right, Lu Wei chose a rhythmic step to close the ball for 3 points. Zhang Tao did not pounce too fiercely. He first dodged Luffy's foul first, and then used his palm to take Luffy's 3-point racket away. This cap directly slapped the ball to the second floor stand, and the popcorn in the hand of a spectator was hit, and the surrounding area was instantly chaotic like a heavenly lady scattering flowers. Volleyball-style big hat. Lewis Williams definitely didn't expect Zhang Tao's body adjustment ability to be so strong. This ball fanned to the second floor of the stand. The audience friends should be careful, haha. The on-site commentators constantly reminded the fans to pay attention to their personal safety. Zhang Tao had just brought them back to the dressing room. Luffy threw his hands at Rivers. He had already done his best to attack, but Zhang Tao's defense covered him like a large net. The Clippers went on the offensive with only 6 seconds to go. This attack did not give Luffy. It was Rivers Jr. who rushed in with his head stuffed. Rivers Jr. wants to make a layup. It is still Zhang Tao's strong interference. Although it was not blocked, it scared Rivers Jr. enough and the layup was deflected. The rebound was firmly controlled by Zhang Tao. After the opening, Zhang Tao's defensive dominance made the audience feel numb. Too horizontal. As long as he is inside the 3-point line, it is his defensive coverage area. This guy has a first-class sense of defense, and the small man who rushes in will almost be interfered with. Even in the face of small and big dislocations, his body rhythm is completely up, unlike some other big men who are extremely clumsy and will be overdone. After Zhang Tao gave the ball to Bogdan, he slowly ran to the front. Bogdan began to organize the Kings players to keep throwing the ball. Zhang Tao also made a no-ball block cover for his teammates from time to time, constantly covering his runs. He found an opportunity to send the ball directly to the left side of the basket. Zhang Tao got rid of Little Jordan and jumped into the air, caught the basketball with both hands and smashed it directly. Box. The whole basketball hoop is shaking leisurely. 11-0. It was a perfect aerial relay. Little Jordan gasped and looked at Zhang Tao's back. He had tried his best to stop Zhang Tao, but he was still got rid of Zhang Tao to complete the empty connection. This guy entered the inside line and was as difficult to stop as a shark. The Kings continued the shockwave after their opening game. The defense line is contracted. All give me to guard the inside. Don't give him a chance to jump. Rivers roared from the sidelines. As soon as that guy gets the ball, you guys wrap it. Special Olympics also said to the 2 big inside men, our offense is mostly on the outside, less going to the inside, and now that guy's defensive coverage is too big, so avoid him. Teo said to the two little men again. Although Teo is playing in the NBA for the first year, he has a lot of game experience. Teo can see that Jean Tao's finishing ability is currently the strongest in the Kings, and other small men are far less threatening than Jean Tao. As long as the ball is not in Jean Tao's hands, then the Clippers will not withstand such strong defensive pressure, so the bag must be decisive. The same is true in defense, don't come hard with Jean Tao. Although Rivers did not assign much command to Special Olympics convinced his teammates. Clippers attack. With Special Olympics in tandem, Lou got an open spot from outside the three-point line. Although catch and shoot wasn't Lou's preferred offensive style, Lewis threw the ball anyway. 11-3. The Clippers finally scored. Rivers finally breathed a sigh of relief. That beast is too terrifying to enter the inner line. Episode 75. The King attacks. The Clippers' defense is very clear, standing 3-2 joint defense, focusing on defending Jean Tao inside. This is not the first time Jean Tao has encountered such a defense, and he has long been prepared in the face of this situation. Jean Tao mentioned the outside line to help Bogdan hang a cover. After covering, Jean Tao went down, and Bogdan gave the ball. Jean Tao's inside line attracted a bunch of people as soon as he caught the ball. Jean Tao did not dare to slack. He immediately distributed the ball to Hilda in the bottom corner position. Hield is the Kings' top three-point shooting percentage, and he has long been waiting for Jean Tao's shot. Hield took the ball and pulled it up, and his hand rose and fell. Wonderful arc. 14-3. Hey, Jean, good pass. Hilda high-fived Jean Tao. Your vacancy has improved a lot. Jean Tao shrugged. Of course, how else would my data go up? Hilda said with a grin. Hilda had invited Jean Tao to eat a lot of meals, all of which studied this tactic. Hilda is well aware of Jean Tao's containment of the opposing defense. As long as he can run to a position that Jean Tao can see, he will have many more open opportunities. Hilda has fewer opportunities to hold the ball than Fox and Bogdan, and he will have a greater need to receive passes. Jean Tao reduced his personal attacks after the Clippers stepped up their targeting defense, but Jean Tao's successive catch-up passes became a new problem for the Clippers. Hield and Bogdan both shoot well from three-point range, and as long as they are normal and give them a chance to open space, they will make the Clippers pay the price, and the margin will quickly go up to 20 points. However, the Clippers' offense also began to recover after Lou Wei came up, especially in the last 2 minutes of the quarter. Lou Wei took advantage of Jean Tao's continuous rush into the interior to cause damage. The King had just traded 2 interior lines, and now the tacit understanding of the second team was to be recultivated, and Lou Wei repeatedly succeeded, which narrowed the point difference. The first quarter ended quickly. The score was 38-22, with the Kings leading by 16 points on the road. Jean Tao's data in the first quarter is very comprehensive: 13 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists and 5 blocks. This is the first time that an NBA player has completed 10 plus 10 plus 5 plus 5 data in the first quarter. Jean Tao almost played a perfect individual performance, and such statistics give us reason to expect that Jean Tao may also get a 4-double. The Clippers had a good personal limit on Jean Tao in the second half of the first quarter, but now the score is still so far behind because Jean Tao activated the whole team, and Rivers had to find another way to limit the Kings team. That's right, the Clippers are now dealing with the whole King. Jean Tao's promotion of the King is phenomenal, and I really want to see how strong this King becomes after Bradley Beal comes to this team. Barkley and Smith are looking forward to it. Intercessional breaks. Rivers fell into a very contradictory time. Jean Tao's passing ability is not bad, and if he keeps rapping, the Kings' overall attack can work. If their outside accuracy is enough, the Clippers are basically hopeless. But if you don't rap it, with the current Jordan and Harrell, they can't limit Jean Tao one-on-one on the inside. After hesitating for a while, Rivers made a decision: lock Jean Tao. If they throw the whole team, we can't say. The big man has to protect our backcourt rebounds, and don't let Jean Tao easily enter the interior to have a second chance to attack. The Clippers grabbed 3 frontcourt rebounds by Jean Tao in the second quarter, and all 3 of these frontcourt rebounds were successfully converted into points by the Kings. This is miserable. The second quarter of the game began quickly. Today's good form Bogdan and Hield led the Kings' second team to the Clippers. The Clippers' second team has always been their advantage, and if they can't catch up with the score in the second team, then the game will be a little miserable. Hield and Bogdan's hands were fed by Jean Tao in the first quarter, and both had strong shooting grasp. On the Clippers side, Harrell and Lowe blocked the goal. The strong play of the two also kept the difference around 15 points. With 7 minutes and 40 seconds left in the second quarter, the game entered an official timeout. After the timeout, it was time for the starting lineup to fight. After the starter came up, it was still the pattern of the first quarter. Jean Tao blocked and dismantled with the small man, then caught the ball down, and passed the ball outside when he encountered multiple people. The outside player will have a chance to lead the ball at most once. The Kings' outside players shot well today, and almost everyone hit a three-pointer today. Episode 76. With such a dozen, the Clippers will be very uncomfortable. At the defensive end, Jean Tao blocked Louis, Jordan Jr., and Harrell many times. Harrell's offensive ability is really good, but this guy can only attack on the right, and then he is too short again. After Jean Tao came up, he ate 2 of Jean Tao's hats in succession on the inside. The game was played at 3:50, Clippers possession. Lou Wei and Harrell blocked and demolished again, and this time Lu Wei chose to cast himself and hit the iron. Jordan Jr. pushed Zhang Tao desperately. Harrell finally picked up an offensive rebound in the front court, and he rushed up to split the dunk through Zhang Tao. But Zhang Tao jumped back and pressed Harrell's dunk basketball down again. Bang! Harrell was also pushed to the ground by Zhang Tao and lay on his stomach, and the ball still hit Harrell's head and went out. Harrell was lying on the ground and was about to cry. He was sealed by Zhang Tao 3 times, and he was almost doubtful of life. Harrell has a strong scoring ability on the inside, but today he scored almost all of his points when Zhang Tao was away, and he entangled with Zhang Tao on the inside, making him feel like he was back to when he played with adults as a child. Adults always fan his balls again and again. Beat him to tears. Zhang Tao's muscles and sweat are constantly flashing in close-up shots. Today's internal confrontation is also very high intensity for Zhang Tao. Harrell and Jordan Jr. are both very strong insiders, and it takes a lot of effort to completely suppress them. Are you okay? Little Jordan pulled Harrell up. I'm okay. After a while, Harrell picked himself up again, and he spat out his braces, not daring to let people see the tears in the corners of his eyes. NBA players sweat too much, and many people around them don't notice. Of course, there will also be some close-ups to capture Harrell's red eyes. This guy is terrifying, don't force it. Well, I know. Jordan Jr. and Harrell are cheering each other on. The Kings attack. Zhang Tao hung a cover for Fox and pulled it out. The Clippers' defensive attention was on Zhang Tao's side, and Fox easily got a breakthrough opportunity and scored a straight layup. The gap between the two teams continues to widen. Next round, the Clippers attacked, this time with Teo and Harrell's blocking. Teo's ability to split the ball is outstanding, and he has helped Harrell stagger Zhang Tao's long arm coverage. Harrell has the advantage of position, and he wants to make a layup and rebound when he gets the ball, but the moment the basketball made contact with the rebound, snap. Zhang Tao completed the 4th cap on Harrell. Harrell flew out again because of the impact behind Zhang Tao. The ball was in the zone of reasonable confrontation, and Harrell's entire maneuver had been completed, so there was no foul problem. The basketball hit Harrell's head again when it landed. This time Harrell was really smashed. The tears that had just stopped in the corners of his eyes couldn't help but come down again. Harrell lay on the ground and did not dare to look up. Zhang Tao on the other side looked confused, and Zhang Tao thought that he had really knocked Harrell out of the matter. The team doctor quickly came over to confirm that Harrell had a concussion. In the end, the result was naturally no, but Harrell took a towel and covered his head and went straight down, and his destination was the dressing room. Harrell was indeed not injured, but he had to pretend to be injured to cover up the fact that he was crying by Zhang Tao. Eating 4 hats in a single section is really miserable. This is the second Clipper inside line that was taken down by Zhang Tao, and you can see that Zhang Tao does not have any additional movements, that is, direct physical confrontation. It's terrifying. I have to remind everyone not to go to the hard steel with the beast. Barkley and Smith both joked. On the field, Zhang Tao was ready to touch the back of Fox's head, and Fox quickly dodged. Zhang, don't touch me for the time being, I'm afraid. Harrell's walk to the dressing room was so miserable. The guy seemed to be crying by Zhang Tao. Okay. Zhang Tao looked at a few small people similar to Fox, and he shrugged helplessly. In the future, it will probably be a little difficult to touch the back of the head of my teammates. Rivers' face on the sidelines was very ugly. Zhang Tao didn't finish playing in the first half. He had 10 blocks, and he also took away 2 interior linemen of the Clippers. How else to play? On the other hand, Jorgo laughed. Zhang Tao changed the game too much. Not necessarily his offense, his defense can also be. For a center like Zhang Tao, who has a real dominance, as long as he is on his territory, it is difficult to break through his blockade. 10 caps, the first half is a hot pot feast. At the end of the first half, the score was 45-65, and the Kings had already led by 20 points. And if it weren't for Lu's consecutive 3 points at the end of the quarter, the gap between the two teams would have been even wider. Halftime locker room. Episode 77. Dressing room. Rivers is constantly roaring. Because of Griffin's fate with Harrell, he had to use edge center Willie Reed. Reed usually doesn't play, and to deal with Zhang Tao on the field is to find abuse. Fortunately, after returning to the locker room early, Harrell's mentality and mood have returned to normal. He can play in the second half. Harrell is still fighting for a big contract. He will not escape reality. In the second half, to raise the tempo, we all ran and don't let them fall into position. After discussions with the coaching staff, Rivers changed the team's tactics. An inside giant like Zhang Tao, as long as he falls into the position, his power will be amplified whether it is attack or defense. Rivers thought of the Warriors' Death 5 small. Not to position is to compare athleticism with the opposite side. However, such a style of play is either killed or killed, and most of the cases of being killed are that the opponent can take advantage of the flaws of the small lineup, and Rivers can only bet that the Kings will not catch the Clippers' small roster defects. Jordan Jr., Louis, Teo, Decker, Rivers Jr. In a big and small lineup, Jordan Jr. is more suitable for playing as a center in a small lineup than Harrell. Seeing Rivers' small lineup in the second half, Jorge smiled. Looking at the lineup, you can see that the Clippers want to use speed to run the King, except for Jordan Jr. The other 4 have the ability to burst into combination. Once their offense opens, the Clippers' scoring speed will come up quickly. From this opposite lineup, Jorgel can feel Rivers' fear of being dominated by Zhang Tao. The current Clippers don't dare to confront Zhang Tao, so they want to hide from Zhang Tao, but Zhang Tao can hide if he wants to. You guys hide from Zhang Tao. Won't Zhang Tao go to you yet? Jordan Jr. is now carrying 3 fouls, 2 more are going down. Wait to beat him down. Do you really want 5 guards to come up? Jorgel was curious. After the start of the second half, it was indeed as Jorge expected. Zhang Tao quickly beat Jordan Jr. to 5 fouls and replaced it, and Rivers sent Harrell again. Harrell couldn't limit Zhang Tao. The Clippers were seriously under tall, and Zhang Tao's inside score was easier. Unlike the first half, which required continuous passes to finish, when attacking, the King played more simply in the second half, and the small man waited for Zhang Tao to fall into position and hang inside. 2 big men may have a chance to stop Zhang Tao from scoring, but the 2 small men have little chance to prevent it. Harrell is too short, similar to a small man. Every time Zhang Tao catches the ball inside, he directly grabs the ball with his high arms and hands, and then directly raises it high, many times without dribbling. He throws it casually to the basket, and if he doesn't go in, he grabs a second rebound and then scores. The power of the inside giant is like a fish in water when encountering such a small lineup of Clippers. On the offensive end of the Clippers, they hope to reduce the pressure on the Kings' interior defense by playing transitions or speeding up, but Zhang Tao's running speed like a small man simply made the Clippers desperate. Almost every time Zhang Tao can keep up with their fast attack. In the Kings, it may be that Fox's speed is faster than Zhang Tao, and others dare not say that they are beating Zhang Tao in speed. Since the Clipper is fast, then the King will follow fast. The Clippers' offense was still inefficient in the last half, but the defense was not as good as the first half. In this period of the third quarter, Zhang Tao played more easily, and he scored 20 points in a single quarter. After the third quarter, Zhang Tao's personal data also came to 41 points, 21 rebounds, 13 blocks, and 7 assists. It's a large triple-double. After the third quarter, Zhang Tao got a big triple-double, and his assists are still 3 short of doubles. Will Zhang Tao play in the fourth quarter to get the second quadruple of his career? The Clippers tried to play against the Kings with lineup changes in the third quarter, but unfortunately, they backfired, with a score of 100-70 and the Kings leading by a full 30 points on the road. The commentator roared furiously. After the first 3 quarters, the difference between the 2 teams had already lost the suspense of the game. The Clippers didn't have the slightest way to fight back against the King, who had a 9-game winning streak. The audience on the internet and the fans on the scene are looking forward to Zhang Tao's appearance in the fourth quarter and brushing up 4 doubles in a row, but the Clippers weren't competitive enough, and they didn't keep the score close in the second team game. Xiao Gear also wanted to send Zhang Tao to the field, but Zhang Tao directly refused. I don't want to brush the data, there is no need for this, there are many opportunities in the future, and if you appear now, it is easy to cause injury. Zhang Tao refused to appear for a good reason, especially after Jorge heard that he did not want to be injured, and he also nodded. Zhang Tao is very calm, it is he who is a bit of a head coach. Zhang Tao's data is close to 4 doubles, but Zhang Tao feels that there is no need to brush it. What others find difficult, Zhang Tao finds very simple. It's as easy as eating a meal and wanting to drink soup. You take 4 pairs as treasures, but I don't think so. Episode 78. In the future, there will be a lot of opportunities to get 4 doubles, which belongs to Zhang Tao's confidence. In the end, there wasn't much suspense in the game, and the Kings beat the home Clippers to the cheers of a crowd of away fans. 125-100, the Bad King finally released water and also let the Clippers score break 100, giving them a little face. 10 consecutive wins. Zhang Tao's 10 consecutive victories after joining the King. Congratulations to Zhang Tao. Congratulations to the Kings, they won 8th place in the West with today's victory, 16-17. The Kings spent an incredible 20 days. These 10 games they are invincible. Under Zhang Tao's leadership, the Kings are back on the way to compete for a playoff spot. Zhang Tao also quickly became the new core of the King in 10 games, and he is now the undisputed boss of the King. Bradley Beal will arrive with the Kings after Christmas, and I believe everyone needs to face up to a team like this now. They have the strength and record to challenge the Warriors. Barkley and Smith's excited concluding remarks also represent the Kings' promotion in the league. After 10 consecutive wins, other teams and fans in the league changed their perception of the Kings, changing the impression that the Kings were weak. Post-match press conference. After a commercial blow, Zhang Tao, who finally came out, became the subject of the interview. The reporter asked, Zhang, you have won 10 consecutive victories and returned to the top 8, so what is your next goal? Zhang Tao replied, going back to the top 8 is just the beginning. Our goal has always been to win the championship. The reporter asked, the team's goal is to win the championship? What about your personal goals? For example, what accolades do you want to receive? Zhang Tao shrugged. I just hope that I can maintain a good state and let the better side be presented to the fans. And as for personal honors, I believe the league will give me corresponding honors based on my performance. Personal honors and the like, Zhang Tao feels that he should have it sooner or later. In terms of personal strength, Zhang Tao has always been very confident. The reporter asked, how many consecutive wins do you think the team will have to be the end? Zhang Tao said, I don't know, I will always try to help the team win. After winning 10 in a row, the post-match coverage of this game was overwhelming. The media finally focused a lot of their attention on this King. 10 wins in a row. From the champion team to the championship team, only one Zhang Tao is missing. 40 plus 20 plus 10 luxury triple-double. Zhang Tao contributed double caps for 2 consecutive games. The king broke the ship away from home, Zhang Tao, 3 luxurious big triple pairs. The king is back in the top 8, and opponents in the West should pay attention to this powerhouse. After Christmas, Bill's arrival will complement the last of the king's shortcomings. Kings are newly upgraded, can they challenge the Golden State? I'm so interested in Zhang Tao. I really didn't expect him to occupy the top of the scoring list, rebounding list, and block list. After watching today's game, Zhang Tao was really invincible in the first 3 quarters. Yes, it's too good, the King's Zhang Tao era is here. Zhang Tao will be O'Neal, so will Bill be Kobe? I'm looking forward to the king after Christmas. Zhang Tao has changed my perception of this era. The era of the big man has seen the light again. I heard that many scouts of the team are focusing on the NCAA big man, because the appearance of Zhang Tao has made other teams in the league realize the benefits of having a super interior lineman, and they all hope to dig out the next Zhang Tao. The 10-game winning streak has made Zhang Tao's fans grow exponentially, and more fans are discussing his matches on social platforms. People outside the domestic basketball circle also began to learn the name Zhang Tao from fans and friends. Zhang Tao was known as Yao Ming II at the beginning in China, and many people at that time ridiculed Zhang Tao's self-sufficiency. But now this group of people has begun to call Zhang Tao Asian O'Neal. However, Zhang Tao's fans prefer to call Zhang Tao the Beast. Neither Yao Ming II nor Asia O'Neal is enough to explain Zhang Tao's uniqueness. Zhang Tao is already another interior overlord other than Yao Ming and O'Neal, and he must have his own name. After this game, it was also Christmas. The next game was in Cleveland 3 days later, and Georgia gave the Kings players 2 days off. Episode 79. The next stop is still to play away, so Zhang Tao did not return to Sacramento, but Lin Na came directly to Los Angeles. The two spent Christmas together in Los Angeles. Christmas is the most important holiday in the country, just as grand as the Chinese people celebrate the Spring Festival. On the morning of December 25th, Zhang Tao and Lin Na held hands and walked on the street, which was the first time that the two experienced this lively festival in a foreign country. Zhang Tao and Lin Na are not very old, and both of them like the lively atmosphere. There is no snow in Los Angeles in winter, and the weather is perfect for shopping. Many shops are crowded, merchants are also working very hard to promote their various goods, and ordinary people are willing to take this opportunity to shop. Zhang Tao is now also a millionaire, and he can easily bear Lin Na's various shopping needs. However, although Lin Na is a rich woman, she is not keen on buying a variety of luxury brands, but is a very rational consumer. These are the 3 views that Lin Na has established since she was a child. The two came to a shop that sold Christmas cards. The store is full of cards of all kinds. Lin Na quickly picked out 2 cards for herself and Zhang Tao. You right. Zhang Tao looked at a bunch of children riding around, and he didn't get a good position in the past. Right, don't you have anything you want to say to me? Lin Na coquettishly said. Lin Na's coquettishness was very useful to Zhang Tao, and Zhang Tao had to lie on the wall and write. Although Lin Na is a very rational and mature girl, she also likes romance. Usually, in her relationship with Zhang Tao, she takes the initiative many times. Others see Zhang Tao as a fierce beast on the court, a big man who is feared, and Lin Na sees Zhang Tao as the kind of humble big man, with a very good personality, and is a reliable other half. Zhang Tao's literary and artistic talent is average, and he only wrote a sentence of earthy love. Lin Na, on the other hand, wrote the cards full of hope for the future of the two. Zhang Tao could feel Lin Ji's love from these words. What a simple girl. After coming out of the card store, the two continued. Christmas trees are erected on the streets of Los Angeles, and there are many celebrations here. There are many large and small musical performances along the way, performing holy plays, telling Bible stories, and singing hymns. The whole city seems to be playing the tune of Merry Christmas. The two kept together until evening. From time to time, fans who know Zhang Tao recognize him, and then let Zhang Tao sign a photo, and Zhang Tao generously agreed to these requests. Fortunately, this is Los Angeles, not Sacramento, otherwise Zhang Tao would not be able to shop well. In the evening, Zhang Tao took Lin Na to a high-style Western restaurant to eat. There are many couples who come here to eat Western food, and the atmosphere is also very romantic. Zhang Tao ordered a tune and gave it to Lin Na. Although these things are very cliched, Lin Na enjoys them very much. Lin Na likes the sense of security of staying with Zhang Tao. The two always have endless words. The two of them are junior high school and high school classmates, and there are too many overlaps in life. After eating, the two held hands and returned to the hotel room. On the sofa, the two watched TV and chatted together. Zhang Tao, when did you start secretly liking me? Lin Na looked up at Zhang Tao and asked. It should be in the 3rd year of junior high school. You sat in the front row. I sat in the back 2 rows behind you, and the first time I saw your back, I thought, why is there such a good-looking girl? Zhang Tao recalled his memories and said, hee, I didn't expect you to be so dishonest. Lin Na said with a smile, I'm just one of them. There are so many people who like you. Every day you see a lot of people stuffing you with love letters or all kinds of delicious food. Hey, Zhang Tao also felt that the world was very strange when he recalled it, and when he was in junior high school, he never thought that Lin Na would come with him. Most of Zhang Tao's experiences in the two lives are similar, and in his previous life, he also liked Lin Na's type. Honestly, have you ever written me a love letter or stuffed me with food under the table? Lin Na has always received too many love letters and gifts, and after a long time, she has no impression. No, I was reading at that time. I want to go to the same university as you. Zhang Tao said. Humph, fortunately this is the case, otherwise I would have a bad impression of you. Lin Na said. Lin Na is sometimes a very arrogant personality, and when others write love letters to her, she will hate that person. Early love is an act of irresponsibility for herself. Guys like Zhang Tao, who have never made any moves, attracted her attention with her favorite basketball specialty after attending the same university. After she came into contact, she found that Zhang Tao had a good personality and character, which made her chase after her instead. Episode 80. The two kept reminiscing about the bits and pieces when they were not together before. At a certain point in the atmosphere, Lin Na raised her head and put her arms around Zhang Tao's neck and brought her mouth up. Zhang Tao spent 2 whole days of sweet time with Lin Na. The distance did not make the two estranged, but because of the understanding of each other since childhood, the two trusted each other even if they got along in different places, and the relationship between Zhang Tao and Lin Na tended to be stable. Zhang Tao doesn't want to mess up his feelings and life like other NBA players. Lin Na is a very suitable other half. The two of them have similar views, they also grew up together in the same place, and the family backgrounds of both parties are well understood. Lin Na also gave everything to Zhang Tao based on such similar ideas. Zhang Tao has always set the pursuit of career goals as his life goals, and Lin Na also decided that she would accompany Zhang Tao to complete his career goals. On the 3rd day, Lin Na flew home from Los Angeles. This time, Lin Na went back to prepare to apply for a transfer to the university here. After seeing off Lin Na, Zhang Tao also flew to Cleveland at the same airport. The last time he played the Cavaliers was at the Kings' home court, and it was Zhang Tao's first game, and Zhang Tao gained a foothold with that game. Today's Zhang Tao is different from Zhang Tao in the first game. After 10 games, Zhang Tao received a lot of players' attention, and LeBron James also knew Zhang Tao well. Cleveland, pre-match press conference. James told a crowd of reporters, Zhang is a phenomenal interior player. I have watched a lot of his games. He has the ability to change the current pattern of the league, and the Kings also have the strength to challenge the Warriors. James's high opinion undoubtedly made Zhang Tao receive more praise. Now James is the first man in the league. His optimism about Zhang Tao also represents his vision of Zhang Tao. Zhang Tao arrived in Cleveland by himself. He arrived. The staff has already started to warm up. Hearing James praise for himself, Zhang Tao smiled and said, "Thank you. I know he very much wants us to kill the Warriors, but this matter cannot be rushed. But if he is willing to join us, then this matter will definitely be done." Mr. Zhang's joke made the reporters laugh. Beal also came to Cleveland today to join the team, and he arrived before Zhang Tao. Go into the dressing room. Zhang Tao met his long-awaited all-star guard. Bill is 196 cm tall, and Zhang Tao looks a little small compared to him. But Zhang Tao will not underestimate this little man. In the previous life Zhang Tao crossed the season, Bill averaged 30+ per game in the season. Because he was selected for All-Ming, he also provoked fans to criticize the league's all-star selection for being unfair. Although Bill's ability to lead the team is not good, his individual scoring ability is absolutely top-notch. The two have already had a lot of communication on the phone. Zhang Tao patted Bill on the back of the head as soon as they met. "Bradley, we've been waiting for you for a long time, haha." "Hey, Zhang, I've got a lot of gossip about you in the last 2 days. No wonder you came to the team later than me." Bill also teased Zhang Tao. In the past 2 days, gossip reporters have filmed a lot of news about Zhang Tao and Lin Na visiting major attractions in Los Angeles. News headlines are all gossip. For example, where Zhang Tao's hand was placed on Lin Na, and the two were playing kiss on the beach. Zhang Tao is the same protagonist in the same gossip news he watched in his previous life. Those journalists are idle and have nothing to write about. Zhang Tao spread his hands. "Bradley, you will also enjoy such treatment in the future, and we have a lot more reporters around us recently." Fox on the side said, Zhang Tao's effect of attracting flash is very strong, especially the domestic media that come to film and interview Zhang Tao are getting more and more every day. Fox, Bogdan, Heald and others can feel that the number of their fans from the other side of the ocean is growing at a very high speed. They never expected that their playing would also attract millions or even tens of millions of people's attention. After all, not every player is LeBron James. They also enjoy this fan environment. After all, attention represents sponsors, sponsors represent money, and few people in this world can't get by with money. Well, I'm sure it will be better than Washington. Bill could feel the energy as soon as he entered the Kings' dressing room. The Kings' locker room was not the same as the lifeless atmosphere of the Wizards' locker room. Every player here is talking about how to help the Kings win instead of playing the big contract with better stats. Kings management has given players who only want contracts to the Wizards. _Failu remind you, 3 things to read, collect, push.